Previously on Bombs Away. Hey, I'm actor John Hurd. I'm in Chud 1. I used to also be in Home Alone and a bunch of other things, but my character plays a emotionally abusive photographer asshole to my maybe pregnant girlfriend, model girlfriend. Yeah.
I'm John Goodman. I'm a cop for 2 seconds. That's all I remember. I don't know anything else.
And I'm Michael Stern.
Oh.
I was also in Home Alone. I'm crazy. I run a homeless soup kitchen. I may or may not be homeless myself in this film.
Not a wet bandit.
And I'm the villain. And I do the acronym of CHUD. Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers. And we all go underground and we stop the CHUDs when the military tries to explode the sewer system. And they all turn nuclear.
And I'm the milk truck that blew up.
And I'm Callan, a ray of sunshine that used to be on the show.
The dog is dead.
And this is the first time they've actually ever acknowledged my departure.
She would have hated this one too because of the dog.
Yep.
Okay.
Roll Chud 2.
What's that song that's like, you can dun it, do dun it, dun it. I wanna rock all night. That sounded just like that. For a few seconds, I was like, C.D.C?
Right?
Also, did you know this song was written and performed by a guy that everyone forgot about?
Obviously, because you don't know.
I was building up to that one.
We got taglines.
Oh, yeah. Do we have taglines?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, okay. I forgot about those.
Meet Bud, party animal of the living dead.
That's just a slogan for weed. Think about it.
Yeah. Their next one. Their first mistake was stealing a corpse. Their second was waking it up. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I mean, yeah. That's on, like, the poster.
And the last one. This Chud's for you. It's the Budweiser slogan.
Yeah.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, with no reported budget and no reported gross, it was straight-to-video sequel. With one dog kicked down the stairs, one corpse brought back to life, one killer Chud dog, one man eating a whole live fish, one throat slash, one bazooka to a restaurant, one shotgun to the chest, one decapitation, one pitchfork through the chest, one rake to the balls, one truck explosion via a handgun, one kid eating a bird, one man eating a bird, one Bunsen burner through the skull, one heart ripped out of a chest, with 20 explosions in total and over 30 people turned into Chuds, with a 3.8 on IMDb, and no Rotten Tomatoes score. It's 1989's Bud the Chud. Chud 2. Oh, let's drop some bombs.
Time to put the pedal to the metal, as I believe the saying goes.
Go, Gadget, oil slick.
Eat 'em up! Eat 'em up! Yo, yo, yo! Come on, you son of a bitch. Is that all you got, huh? Come on, let's see what else you can do. You talking to me? Huh? Are you nuts? Come at me. You're not being nice. Fuck you! This is the best time I've ever had in my entire life. Do you hear me, world? My entire life!
Welcome to Bombs Away, the only podcast recorded inside a projection booth. My name is Jonathan Young. Joining me in the studio, as always, is...
a reanimated corpse that doesn't know who he is anymore. Gerrit Cypher.
You doing all right over there?
Yeah, no.
No?
Diet Coke is hitting me hard.
Oh,
I'm real energized.
A sugary eye that isn't even
There's
sugar.
no sugar.
I know.
It's just drilling whores in my brain.
Whores? It's.
I was so distracted by the lid of this cup that I was like, whores in my brain.
Hey, David, we're the whores.
Hey, we're moving in. You got a dirty mattress? You're about to.
Thanks, Diet Coke, for all your whores that you're drilling into his head.
Whoops. Oh, man.
I don't know whether they're Harvey Firestein.
Batman.
Not Weinstein. Firestein.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? I don't know.
Harvey Firestein from Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking
oh my
Harvey
God,
Weinstein.
you're my mother.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, gosh. Hello! And welcome to Bombs Away. Whew, starting off strong today.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is the sequel to Chud from 1984, starring John...
Chud the Chud. That's the first one.
Yeah.
Chud the Chud. This one's Chud, too. Bud the Chud.
Rud the Chud.
Yeah. Don't rub the Chud.
Starring John Hurd and Michael Stern, and nobody else to speak of that is fairly important. Oh, John Goodman.
But, well, yeah, but he's not a substantial
And that Laura Dern knockoff.
Oh, yeah.
That has that weird
her.
clogged shower that then sprays blood and is never explained. Yeah. This was episode 11, the original Chud movie for us, and... as you heard in our previously on Bombs Away, that pretty much seemed that pretty much summed up the plot. I mean, it's literally two guys from two opposite sides of the community. One's a photographer doing investigative reporting. The other one runs a homeless soup kitchen.
Yeah,
and they so happen to both have their encounters with people who have been mutated by nuclear waste in the sewers, and the project was called CHUD, and that actually could stand for two different acronyms, and one of those acronyms for this movie just gets thrown out the window.
Yeah,
and it is indeed just cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers.
Remember the guy that got hit in the head so hard by a basement door that he died?
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's pretty violent. Probably the weirdest death. Not weirdest, but just like, really? You died that way?
Yep.
Like, poof. Oh, no.
And throughout that movie, it's just John Hurd in one part of the sewer and Michael Stern in another part of the sewer encountering Chuds and trying to get out of the sewer before the military or the city, who's now directly involved, tries to just fill the sewers with gas and exterminate the Chuds by blowing them all up.
Yeah.
And they do indeed blow up the sewers, and end of movie with John Hurd and Michael Stern and his girlfriend all getting out alive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we thought was going to be the end of Chud. We burned them all, but I guess not.
Nope.
Because this is a movie where I guess they took... Nobody, I don't know how, because Chuds became Chuds due to nuclear waste.
It seems like this movie was supposed to be a different movie, but then someone was like, let's just make it a sequel to Chud, like what they're doing with that Cloverfield universe, where they're just buying random movies.
I would agree with you to a point, but there's too many actual uses of the word Chud, and then the film itself, having a theme song, Bud the Chud.
You can buy things and rewrite the word zombie to be Chud.
You could, but you know what I'm saying? I agree with the Cloverfield analogy in ways, but
you just think it's too heavily written to tie to the
exactly.
original.
Everybody's using the word Chud constantly. You know, it'd be one thing if they're like, "Oh, we didn't use the word chud at all, but now we turned into chud," and then the theme song was that. But no, everybody's saying it in the dialogue, which means it was said on set, which means it was in the script.
Yeah,
you know. So, but in this one, they seem to forget what was established fully, and they're like, the only thing we're going to keep is the fact that they are cannibalistic.
Yeah,
you know, everything else is like, oh, this is actually.
They're
zombie
cannibalistic,
movie.
They're humanoid, but they're not underground dwellers.
Nope.
They're just
They're just They're cannibalistic humanoid dwellers. Well, no, they're wanderers.
Cannibalistic above ground dwellers.
So chow.
Wanderers. Chow.
Yeah, but this is they forget. Okay, so Chuds originally in the first film were Chuds because of nuclear waste disposal in the sewers, which then just mutated and drove the homeless population in the sewers crazy, and they started mutating into big, bright-eyed like monsters that could like grow their necks.
They aren't Chud looking.
No,
I just realized
not
that.
at all.
What a bummer of a summer.
Right? This is like if Chuds didn't get to their full mutative process, right? Because it's like they have Chud teeth, and that's about it.
Well, okay. Well, we'll get to that part. So we start off.
Well, this movie is just like a whole bunch of bits placed together.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's like bit after bit after bit. Here's a comedy bit here. Here's a comedy bit here. And here's some blood in between just so you remember that, oh, this is a horror and should go on the horror portion of the rental section.
Yeah. So we begin in a hospital, and it's just some doctor that's like, hey, nurse, you've got my syringe? Which I was like...
Oh, the overhead...
Huh?
You mean the overhead...
the intercom?
Yeah.
Well, that's coming up too.
Okay.
But he just walks up to the nurses and is like, I need my syringe. And he like has a whole plate with one like highlighter colored syringe, and he's like walking through, and the intercom's like, Dr. Molasses, we need you in OR2. It's an emergency. And then it's like, Dr. Molasses, I'm not fucking playing. Like, she gets really mad over the intercom, and I'm like, okay, you don't do that. Like,
they do here.
Gosh.
But this is also, it's not... All right, so is this the same center that they steal Bud from?
No.
Okay, no.
They freeze him and move him to a different
So this is
center.
like a military facility that is a hospital?
Yes.
Nope.
No? Is it a veterans hospital?
No, I don't know.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
asking you. And
I
the
thought
fact
it was
that
just
you're
an
like hesitant to
experimental...
confirm it.
Yeah, I thought it was just an experimental place, or they were just using it as an experimental place.
Well, whatever it is, it also has like full on like it has full on
elevators.
Like, no, not elevators. It has like meeting rooms, like it's like the world.
Well, I thought that was at a different
headquarters.
location, but now that you're saying it, it is. They like basically like leave a meeting room to go downstairs. Because
right.
What happens? This doctor goes downstairs and he's talking to the security guard. He's like, and he says, "Hey, Bud," to the security guard outside of it.
Right.
And I was like,
well, it's like Buddy.
Oh, that's not Bud? I was like, okay, weird. Then he goes inside and meets actual Bud, and he's like, wake up, it's time for dinner.
Oh,
and
God,
he's like, why aren't you awake?
Any other name that rhymes with Chud?
I know.
There's not.
No.
No.
Rudd.
No.
Paul Rudd. It's a name.
That's a last name.
Paul Rudd the Chud. I'd watch it.
I don't age.
God, he's so beautiful. Yes. So then he goes in the room. He's like trying to like wake up a dead guy. I'm like, he's obviously not awake. But I also don't get it because he's like trying to wake him up, and he's like, time for your last meal. And he's like going to give him an injection of something.
Which, like,
but I guess
looks
that injection
like the
was going to
same
kill him.
Glowy serum that Reanimator uses. I was like, oh, he's going to bring it back to life. But
so,
no.
I guess. Okay. So then our next scene, while he says that, it flashes over to like a boardroom with doctors and
Colonels
military
and,
officials.
Yeah. And they're basically saying, like, we're discontinuing the Chud program. I'm like, and the only thing that, because they don't really explain what the Chud program, like, how it came to be. But if I had to, like, formulate my own thoughts, I would assume that after the events of the first movie, they took skin samples of probably some Chuds that were dead down there, and then made their own serum.
I'm sure they had extra chemicals lying around.
Well,
or
no.
they knew how to make it.
Well, meaning like it wasn't, and that's the difference between the first movie and this is like it wasn't a experimental chemical that turned people into chuds.
It was just toxic waste.
Yeah, like it was very trauma-ish.
Well,
in
it's
that
also
way.
it's also a completely different thing,
right? And that's why I think, and that's why I think it's okay to be like, oh, they don't really turn into chuds like in the first one. I think that they took either blood or skin samples from the chud and was like, let's make these.
Yeah.
Right. So like, I think they're injecting people with like a serum that is formulated from actual chuds.
They called it biological warfare because they're like, shut it down, kill the last patient.
I love that.
And then one guy's like, I hate biological warfare. Let's go back to nuclear weapons.
He goes, I wrote it down. He goes, I don't believe in chemical war. I'm more of a nuke guy myself. And I was like, this movie's going to be great.
Okay. Yes. So I think what's happening in that moment is they're sending like the death syringe to that last guy.
Right.
But he wakes up and he attacks the doctor.
Right.
Then the security guard's like, oh, man. And goes in to stop him.
He's like, oh, man.
Yeah, well, he kind of is, isn't it? He's like reading a newspaper and like looks up at the screen and is like, whoops, wasn't doing my job.
Right.
Like, also, why do all security guards always read things or watch things or listen to things and completely miss the screen?
Well, they're always
I could get away with so much.
A lot of times they're either
reading
or another trope is that there's two screens and like one is the camera, but the other screen is like the Tonight Show or something where they're like loud, or like Benny Hill and they're like, yes,
I love this comedy,
or like basketball or something.
Or it's a famous girl and she's walking out and you have to get her autograph.
What movie's that?
Jim and the Holograms.
Okay.
I love Jim.
I'm like, that's not a trope. That movie's like 2 years old.
It's a great movie.
Okay, so also our main like villain other than the Chuds, Robert Vaughn is back on the show. From the main villain in Superman 3. Mm-hmm. I really like Robert Vaughn.
That's why he's familiar. I legit thought he was just in the first Chud, and I was like, cool, they're bringing him back.
No.
I was like,
so
God,
you were just playing along just now?
Guy. Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, he's
he's the main guy that like dupes Richard Pryor into helping him create a supercomputer in Superman 3.
Forgot how much I hated that entire scene.
Yeah. Or that whole movie.
Yeah. Not everything in that movie.
Yeah. But he's back on the show. That was quick. Usually, some people don't come back for like a year.
Yeah. Some people are on every single week, like Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah. Right here in the studio, guys.
Hello. Say hello to your mother.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for having me back.
I love to feel you.
I like it when I pound on my chest.
Still got that tattoo. Did it myself.
Your girl was on my stick, and I licked her tears.
I hate it. Anywho, so then they're in the meeting, and they're like, cancel the Chud program. They're like, fine, what a bummer. But then they're like, we got an emergency. The Chud broke loose. He's loose. Get him. And so they like...
I love how everybody's so, like, nonchalant about the term Chud. Yeah. They're like, the Chud broke loose. Oh, that goddamn Chud. Like, it's...
Like, was it Bud the Chud?
Yeah, it was him.
Or Crud the Chud. Do they just nickname all of them? But no, even his dog tags say Bud, so I guess his name was Bud.
No, his actual character name is one of two things. So it's like it's Bud the Chud, or Bud Oliver is the character's name, which is played by Gerrit Graham.
But his first name is still Bud.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's Bud Oliver is the character, like the human form of Bud the Chud before he died. Yeah.
So it's like kind of perfect for being a Chud.
Right.
He was literally born for that.
Right. So, so Gerrit Graham is mostly known for like Child's Play 2, TerrorVision, and what the trailer says is like from Police Academy 6. I'm like,
God, don't
at
say
what
that.
point do you
don't
just
add a 6.
add that credit? And he was the villain in that. So
he
like,
lived
who
in
cares?
St. Louis for a while. I was like, woo woo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He also in one of his recent films is listed as Bud the Bud T. Chud was
Bud
like
T. Chud?
his character's name.
Oh,
it's
that's
like,
awesome! Like a nod.
Yeah, so it's like supposed to be like parking attendant or something like that. But then in brackets it says Bud T. Chud.
He was in My Girl 2. I can't believe there was a My Girl 2.
This time, the bees get their revenge. Or it's all about, like, bee extermination. I don't know. They're like, kill the hornets.
And then Macaulay Culkin's back from the dead as a Chud.
Ah! It's great.
I mean, that's what he looks like now.
Yeah, so they all nonchalantly go down to the basement. They're like, God, we got to find this Chud. And then it does the stupid cat in the closet trope where they're like, he's in there, and the door's like, and they open it up, and it's like, meow, and he's like, goddamn cat.
Yeah.
Like, not even appropriate in this movie.
And he comes out of the other closet, and I guess the way to
good for him.
Yeah.
He's taking some steps.
There you go. I guess the best way to keep a Chud controlled up to this point has been to use liquid nitrogen that is then in vapor form.
And you
put
them on ice.
Yeah, you freeze them. All right, and it works now, but then for the rest of the movie.
Yeah,
I don't know. They
mutate.
They're like, hey, let's mutate now.
Yeah,
right. They haven't decided to do that until we need to further the plot.
Well, they got like superpowers.
How? From this first freezing to the rest of the freezings, what changed?
Maybe Bud just like wasn't ready for it.
I don't know. So, Bud the Chud is now a frozen dead body again.
I keep just want to say Bode the Chode.
Why?
Because Chode, it's hilarious.
Okay. That's it. That's
all. I just like that word.
Okay, so now we're introduced to three of our main characters, the teens in this little podunk town in the middle of nowhere.
All I can remember is Kevin.
Okay.
Steven?
So Kevin is the nerdy guy.
Yeah.
Steven is the guy with the
He's
80s
so hot.
kind of 80s hair,
his mouth
the mullet
looks so
hair.
Good.
Okay.
You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of who is the dad in It Takes Two?
What? Why would I know that?
It's got Kirstie Alley and that other guy.
Kirstie Alley in It Takes Two?
Yeah.
Oh man. It takes two to make a thing go right.
It's Mary-Kate and
Gutenberg.
Ashley. Steve Gutenberg.
Don't tell her it's me.
That's why I think he's so handsome, because he reminds me of Steve Gutenberg.
You just love Gus.
God, I love a Gutenberg. It's very Guten for you.
Yeah,
but I am
also
gluten-free.
Police Academy. Come on. Come on. People are like, I can't take the puns anymore. I can't do this.
Okay, yeah, he reminds me of Steve Gutenberg. He's got like perfect teeth and a very wide mouth.
Now you're going to remember his name then, because his character's name is Steve.
Oh!
There you go.
Oh, God, I love it.
Yep.
And he's got sexy 80s hair. I think I would have had a crush on every 80s man I ever encountered if I was alive in the 80s, but also not a good time for my people, so I don't want to go back to the 80s.
Or the best time for your people.
No.
That sounded wrong.
Was that really?
It sounded like hateful. You're like, or was it the best time, AIDS?
I know. I was like, God, you really love Nixon, don't you? Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one, right? Yeah, you would have.
Oh, I know my gay history.
Yeah, you would have loved so many in that time, like Kevin Dillon. Mm-hmm. He had like in the Blob, he had hair like that. Like they all had this like leathery jacket, biker hair like that. Man.
Yeah. Oh, and then our third kid, her name
is Katie.
Yes.
And she's played by Tricia. Katie. Right? She's played by Tricia Leigh Fisher, who, when I look at her 4 credits that are like known
it's actually Tricia Leigh Fisher.
I don't know anything that she really was in other than like the show No Ordinary Family, which was canceled very quickly anyway. But
was that like the one about the superhero family like 5 years ago or something?
Yeah, with the guy from like The Shield.
Ugh.
Yeah, the bald guy.
Ugh.
Who was also the Thing in the Fantastic Four movies. Yeah.
God, it keeps getting worse.
Yeah. So that's our 3 people. So Steve is your rebellious, like kind of class clownish. Like
I wouldn't say rebellious. I would more say like he's just kind of like a goofy guy that's
he's
like, whatever, I'm here. I'm having fun.
He's not exactly cool per se, but he's not. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he's not like jock bully or anything. And then you have Kevin, who's kind of nerdy, but also like they're not fitting the normal stereotype tropes hard enough.
They look like the kind of friends that like usually would drift apart after like middle school because they kind of had like their own groups, but they like didn't ever find those own groups because it's such a super small town. Because that gets beaten over our head for the entire movie. Like tiny town, it's a tiny town. It's
well, the dance only has about 30 people.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. But then Katie, she's beautiful.
Oh
so I was like, oh my god, why are these three hanging out?
Right?
Jeez, they must be the popular kids.
So, and we're introduced to kind of, this is another thing, is like we keep going through this adventure with them, but none of them are like absolutely memorable in a stereotype characteristic way. Like Kevin is never really, other than the final thing, he's never really that nerdy.
Yeah, it's like he's wearing glasses. It's more like,
and then he's not
a shy
by the
kid.
End. He's like, hey, I'm handsome
and he
now.
looks like the hot guy at that point. But it's like he's more of a shy kid that's just like a little bit smart. He studies, and then like, class clown.
Katie's
and
just
then
pretty,
Katie's just
and
like,
that's it. Yeah. So they're in a science class, and
got to do a science project, and he just pulls one out of his butthole.
The teacher's like, it's time for your presentation, and he's like, look, I'm gonna take this machine that is just like positive, negative, like I don't know,
electricity.
Yeah, but no, they're like wands.
Yeah,
right. And he's like, look, I have this crippled frog here, right? And he's like, when I shock it, it will not be crippled.
But then the frog gets loose, and then he starts a fire.
Yep, and only Kevin knows how to put it out, because, like, Steve splashes water on it, which makes it worse.
Oh, he, like, throws on a chemical, and it's like... and then Kevin's like, fire, fire... Oh, wait, no, that's later. No! Oh, my gosh. Sorry. I was thinking of the part whenever the Chud breaks out, and then the nerdy assistant's like, got him, got him, got him, got him, got him, got him. Get him! And just says it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And it really pisses me off. Anyway, Kevin is like, a fire. And he throws a bucket of sand on it. And Steve's like, hey, great job, Kevin. But the fire's still going.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't put the fire out.
You fucking moron. And so now, I don't understand this part. They're in, like, the science class storeroom?
Yeah. Oh, the science teacher was like, get ready for tomorrow because I'm going to show you a dead body.
Right. He said that. And the dead body is in this, I guess in the 80s it was more acceptable that there's like, oh, you're going to dissect everything.
Yeah.
Right? But is that, because like, there were like dogs in this storeroom.
Oh,
there
I
were,
got
like,
through high school with
everything.
never dissecting.
Really? We did frog. And apparently there was like a baby lamb.
You had to take an anatomy class in order to do that, which I was like, no thanks.
Right. No, I didn't. It wasn't in biology. It was just frog. But
you didn't do that.
No, you didn't do frog?
I think it's too scarring for people, so it's like an optional class now.
They didn't want a kid like rebelling and like letting all the frogs out and then like making out with a girl, you know, E.T. style.
I was like, why do I know this?
There it is.
Yeah, so they're in the dock space, or the loading dock, which is also where they keep the science animals and stuff. And there's like a tank of frogs.
What high school has a loading dock into the science biology lab?
It didn't make sense because I was like, wouldn't your loading dock be like near the cafeteria? Are you keeping the science and cafeteria stuff together? That's kind of gross,
right? Ugh. Well, whatever doesn't get chopped up for anatomy class just goes right into
like, dog meat again.
Casserole surprise. And there's a dead body there, and I don't know. It doesn't have the brakes on the gurney, and they wind up pushing the body.
Also, it's like they're like the frog got loose, and then is it Steve or Kevin that hip checks it? I don't know. Someone humps it so hard that it shoots out.
Probably
of that
Steve
room.
because he's
got a pelvic floor. My God, his butt in those jeans. I believe it.
I wasn't going to say any of that, but okay.
Acid wash me, jeez.
What does that even mean?
Because he's wearing acid wash jeans.
But what do you mean acid wash me?
I don't know. I just say things. Do you really think I think? Gosh.
Acid wash me?
Yeah, I don't know. Gosh, this is the first time you've called me out on my terrible jokes.
Well, just because, like, you're like
I'm put on the
you're
spot
like,
now.
Insert 80s phrase into sexual joke.
Shh, keep going. Yes, so he humps the gurney, and the dead body
I can't let
flies
it go.
out. God. Fuck me gently with the chainsaw.
Okay.
All right.
So yeah, they hip check the gurney. It goes flying off the dock and rolling down the street, and then it's like a Benny Hill thing. It's like, and they're like running after it. And to me, because like they don't zoom in on the body enough to really like whoever that body is looks just like Bud.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, how did Bud get in the high school? But it's not. It's
I
just
thought it was gonna be
another
like,
body.
Ooh, body mix up.
Right.
Like, I thought that's what was going to happen.
I thought that, or because the colonel is trying to hide the last Chud because he wants the program to continue for germ warfare. I thought that he just hid it in a chemistry lab, or I mean, not a biology lab until they could figure out what they wanted to do with it.
They froze the body and sent it to Center for Disease Control.
Right, but I thought
that's
that
a secret base. Well, we glazed over that on accident.
I thought that they either sent it to the wrong place or like that was the story, and but because he looks just like it, and they do a couple shots during this whole like gurney down the street, but then they're like, we're not gonna catch it, and they just let it go, and it rolls off out of frame.
And then he's like, we got two options. We tell him that we lost his body on Highway 72 or whatever. 51.
Somehow I remember
Area
that.
51. That's good. But he's like, we lost his body on Highway 51, or we steal a new one, which I was like, there's a lot more options than that. Keep following the gurney, you stupid idiot.
It'll crash eventually.
Yeah, it'll come back around
but
at
also,
the very
like,
end.
I want to know. I want a scene in which the police try to figure out where this body came from. like, there's a body, there's a gurney, sir. I got no leads.
Tag.
I got
What's
no
happening?
leads. I got nothing. Looks like he was killed, but months ago.
It looks like he's been dead. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Did you lose a body?
Who just dropped a body out of like a hearse?
Someone's probably running around like they lost their head.
Oh man, that'll happen. So, God, I feel like this one's all over the place.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So then, and then this whole sequence is like, bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, how
all of
the
a sudden,
hell
like,
do you break into the Center for Disease Control?
Well, okay, this is exactly how fast it happens, people. It literally goes like Katie's sitting outside in her car. The two guys are inside where they're storing a body
dressed
in like
as
a
doctors,
cryogenic freezer, and then they just carry the body out.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, they're back at
Steve's house. Yeah.
And it's like, there's no, like, them sneaking around. There's no them getting these disguises. There's no, like, how do we get in? It's just, like, It happens, it's done.
Yeah, for a movie that is, like, heavy on the comedy, like, this part is just glazed over.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, how?
And
like,
they had the time. It's only an hour
how'd you
24.
break it? Okay, the Center for Disease Control is a government facility.
And they even were like, we placed this building in this tiny little nowhere town
why
in the
is it
hills
also
of California so no one could suspect it.
Right.
But also, by the way, we've moved from New York all the way to California.
Yes.
Cross country.
That's okay. Because that I'm okay with
that's
because it's
fine,
like
but it's
whatever,
still like,
government.
Wow, gosh,
away. But yep, glazed over. And of course they pick Bud the Chud as their corpse. And they take him home, and I love Steve's parents.
Yeah. Did you notice the continuity errors? Why are they trying to hide Bud with the parents? Okay, so they're trying to put Bud in the basement, and then they take him upstairs, and all this stuff happening. But, oh, no, this is after they leave. Okay, we'll come back to it. It's the dinner part.
Oh, okay, okay. Where there's a high sponsorship from Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they come inside, and he's like, Kevin, distract the parents, and they're like, penguins. And he's like, you know what that is? And he's like, is that a...
Yeah, that's a penguin.
That's a seal?
That's snow.
And he's like, nope, that's a whale. Like, he says something, he gets something incredibly wrong.
But they're great, because, like, Kevin is supposed to distract the parents while Steve... they're Steve's parents. Well, Steve is like, I'm going to put him in the basement. And he can't put him in the basement because there's a poodle that keeps barking, right?
Which I was like, go past the poodle.
Yeah.
It's a poodle.
Like,
Not a problem. It's very small.
And the poodle's never like, oh my god, like dead body, like meat, and like scratching at a door or anything. It's like, that's not the issue here. It's just that it's making noise. I'm like, well, it's making noise all the time. Just let it out.
So then he decides to take Bud upstairs, which the dog still follows.
This is
But
great.
then he just kicks the dog, and it's just like a stuffed animal flying down the stairs. Which then, like, the mom's like, oh, I guess we should let the dog outside.
Right.
And Kevin's like, oh, sit down, I'll do it. And then he like goes back to like where the dog was just kicked down the stairs, and he's like, let's go outside. And he's pushing at the floor where there's no dog at all. Like, you can see it. And he's like, come on, because he like doesn't know what to do. Like, there's not a dog here. What do I put outside?
Yeah.
So it's my favorite. This is probably my favorite scene. But
No, mine is, but it's a dog thing, but it's not this scene.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then they get Bud upstairs. His little sister is like kind of the stupid side character who's like, you're dreaming, and like if you keep being here, the monster will kill you. Like, go back to bed.
Yeah,
Like,
so this is a
whatever.
running bit through the whole thing, is that the sister keeps witnessing very traumatic things.
Yeah.
Like super traumatic things. And the first time is her witnessing her brother carrying a dead body around the upstairs. And he's like, no, this is a dream. This is a nightmare. And if you don't go to sleep, he's going to get you. Like, you know, he's going to get me too. And she's like, oh, God, I'm going to go to sleep.
So she keeps just falling asleep to solve her problems, which I was like, me too. But that's also just called depression. So she's starting early.
Kevin and Steve are in the bathroom, and to disguise, I guess, what they're saying and what they plan to do, they turn on a hairdryer, and then
they throw Bud in the bathtub,
Right.
which I was like, that's just getting him wet. That's a huge problem.
Yeah.
Why would you do that at all?
Yeah, why would you wet a dead
It looks
body?
like he just turns on the hairdryer because he wanted to blow the hairdryer in his face. Because then he just starts blowing it in his own face, and he's like, air.
Yeah, he's got it pointed directly into his mouth.
He's like, ah.
And so, like, his mom knocks on the door, and he gets startled, and he drops the hairdryer into the tub, which that's the spark of electricity, very Frankenstein-like, that brings Bud back to life.
Which the military people already said that's what's going to happen.
Right.
They're like, once he's de-thawed, you just electrocute his neurons, and he comes back.
Right. And every single time that something happens or is about to happen that would explain the plot, we get intercut with like the military actually explaining what will happen. So like when Bud takes a bite out of its first victim, they're like, it flashes over and like, and if a Chud bites another Chud, they become a Chud or something like that, you know? So it keeps like trying to explain to it. And I'm like, don't tell, just show.
Yeah.
You know, like we'll get it. Because you're basically explaining what a zombie does.
Yeah.
Except for the bringing it back to life with electricity.
So then Steven is like, wow, we're super smart. We got to go get Katie and let her know that, like, we've just reanimated life and we're going to get an A in science. Like, that's his big thing. And I was like, okay, that's what's going to happen.
But also, like, I love how small he thinks.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get an A in science. It isn't in science. It isn't until later in the movie where he's like, we're going to be famous.
Yeah. You're going to get a Nobel Peace Prize. It's Nobel. And he's like, whatever.
He
gets so many words wrong.
Later
It's
when
my
he
favorite.
says the anal of history.
We're going to
he
go
talks
down in
like
the
I
annals
talk.
of history. He's
He
like,
talks like I talk.
I know. It's so
We're going to
good.
go down in the anal of history.
So, yeah. So they they take Bud out of the bath. Bud is like, what's happening? He's like still coming to his senses. And so they take Bud all the way downstairs to put him in the basement finally.
Right.
Since the dog's outside. But then the dog comes back inside.
Why does this always happen
Why
in
does the dog
movies?
get back inside?
Why? The dog is outside.
But the dog comes back inside.
He does. I don't know why.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Maybe when they went outside to leave to go get Katie.
Yeah. Well, the point being is that, like, this happens in movies so much where you have, like, two characters and they're like, let's put them in here and then go get help. It's like, why doesn't one stay behind?
Don't they have phones?
Yeah, that too.
Gosh.
But even if they didn't, you know, or they weren't allowed to use it, like, don't call. And, like, I'm gonna call the movie phone line, and then when you call me, it'll just buzz in. Then my parents won't know. You know, like we
What
all
else
did
is
that.
from?
We all did that.
I never did that. I thought that. I think that wasn't that in a movie recently? God, it
I don't
scared
know.
me.
But
Maybe I watched it.
That
in
was a
movie
thing.
recently.
That was
Yeah.
definitely a thing. You would call the movie phone line. And you would just sit on the line. And you'd wait for the call waiting to buzz in, and that way the phone wouldn't ring and your parents wouldn't be like, "Who is it? Who is that? Who's calling you this late at night?"
That's a you trick.
It's actually not me either. My
Okay,
parents
well,
didn't care.
I didn't.
Yeah. I know that's a thing.
Like, I never did that.
I think it was a girls like trying to get guys to call.
Yeah.
Thing that was more.
I get it. Yeah. So they put Bud in the basement.
I also
they
played
leave.
Mall Madness. What was that dating one with the phone? When they're like a girls like board game that had a telephone, and it'd be like, "Is Billy calling?" What was that?
I don't know.
What was that?
The dating game?
Hot date. I don't know.
Okay.
He'll never love you.
Yeah.
It's called.
So they leave to go get Katie, and this is when the parents have their dinner.
Sad,
and, like,
sorry, sack of a slumber party.
Yeah.
The board game. Anyway.
So Bud breaks out, and he's like going around the house while the parents are having dinner, and like narrow misses all abound.
Right.
And this is whenever they're sitting at the dinner table, and it's this great continuity error of the husband. He pours a glass of wine for himself, and then he sets the bottle in front of him. So then it shows the mom grab the wine from in front of him, pour it for herself, set it down in front of her. But then the camera changes angles, and the wine's once again in front of the dad, with like a glass taken out of it. But then she grabs it again right then and pours herself some, and then sits it down in front of the dad. But there's only like half a glass poured from the bottle of wine, even though they just both poured a glass. But then the camera flashes back over to its original position, and the wine bottle's back in front of the mom. I was like, okay, we're not paying attention. We're splicing together scenes. And then she's like, "Did you try the wine? It's from Wisconsin. It's award winning." And he's like, "Yep."
Not gonna lie, I lost you.
Yeah,
that.
it was all over the place.
I will
great.
take your word for it.
Yep. So Bud's around in the background.
I'll add the scene to Instagram. Like I'm sure it,
Well,
if
Bud,
I just play it as is.
You're like, it's okay.
No, I just don't. I didn't notice it, and I lost you halfway through.
It is a
where I was like, the wine is there, and there, it's there, it's there, and there, it's there.
And they don't even drink from it. So sad. Yeah, so then Bud eventually makes his way outside to follow the dog, and he takes a bite out of the dog and makes it a zombie Chud dog.
Yeah.
First victim, technically. Meanwhile, Zach and Steven and Katie are at Bossy. Is that what it's called?
The burger place?
Yeah, Bossy Burger.
Yeah.
And having a burger, having some food.
All sponsored by Coke. Everybody's like has a red Coke cup. And also...
Like my cup.
Yep. Also, in that dinner scene, while they're passing around that wine, what I kept noticing was the 2-liter of Coca-Cola unopened that was also on the table while they're drinking wine
Just
instead.
sitting there.
Yeah. And that's what I meant. Like, this is like heavily sponsored by Coke for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, why was Coke like, yes, absolutely.
Please. We want the sponsorship.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then also Katie has this great line where Kevin's like, "Katie, I don't want you to be part of this. You should leave." And she's like, "Oh, is it because I'm a lady and I can't handle it and you think I'm inferior?" And then storms off, and I was like, "Get it, girl." And then he's like, "No, it's because I like you."
Right.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there's a cop sitting behind them, so they like don't pay attention to that. But they get outside, and the government has already gone to the Center for Disease Control and been like, security tapes. There's 3 people. This is the car. This is the license plate. And the Katie overhears the cop announcement over the cop phone, whatever that is, radio. So then
the cop phone.
Yeah, bring,
on.
cop phone. Yes. So Katie's like, "Listen, guys, they're on to us. They have my license plate. They have my car description." And
sorry, because your description of things is just like, okay, guys. The other night at work, Gerrit tried to explain to me where to go, and I was supposed to go to the train station.
Yeah,
at Disney, and he says, "You got to go to the
toot machine,
the toot toot magoot."
No, I said the root toot toot machine. Someone else called it the toot toot magoot.
Goddamn train.
The root toot toot machine, because it goes root toot, and it's a machine. It's really good.
You're going to go to the root toot machine. You're going to get on the cop phone.
See, you say words wrong, and I make up words. So it's fine. We're not speaking English.
Cop phone.
The cop phone.
It's a radio.
It's a radio. Okay, I get it. Anywho, God, I'm getting it this episode. Yeah, so Katie's like, they got all of our stuff, and Steven's like, well, here's a great idea. Switch cars with your mom. They won't find us. And
it's not a bad idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then,
meanwhile,
the
Bud's
day...
back at home.
Oh, yeah.
And he's bitten the dog. He's also, like, he's flushing the toilet. I don't know about you, but you don't just
he's like,
hit the handle
great
multiple
noise.
times. Yeah, you don't hit a toilet handle multiple times and it eventually overflows.
Well, I think what we missed is that he was putting stuff into the toilet.
No. We didn't miss it because it didn't cut away. He literally grabs like a hairbrush off of the top of the toilet, and then his hand like kind of slips, hits the flush once, and he it flashes to him, like smiling like he likes the noise, and then it immediately flashes back over to him, just continually hitting it.
No, I think we missed, or not missed. Like I think it wasn't
shown.
You
mean you think the film missed?
Yeah.
Him putting things into it?
Yeah, because then whenever the mom and the dad go up to the bathroom, she's like, my face mask. And then the dad's like, my mother never needed a face mask.
That's one of the best lines for me, right? She goes, your mother looked like Humphrey Bogart. And his response, my mother never smoked a day in her life. I was like, God, I love these two.
Like, oh, shit.
Right?
But
this was like a whole nother side like show.
But she's holding like a torn open face mask thing. So that's why I think he was throwing stuff in the toilet. But they didn't show it, and that's why it overflowed.
Did you know, trivia-wise, that this film has like 3 different cuts?
Oh.
So there's one
like
that...
the first one. Didn't the first one have like 2 different cuts?
Probably.
3?
I don't remember that. But
it had, like,
I do know...
endings.
So there was one that ramped up the comedy. There's one that somehow, I'd love to see it, like, tried to emphasize on the horror.
Oh.
I'm like, how do you even...
Yeah.
Because, like, this is a comedy script, right? And then there's one that was, like, for TV.
Yeah.
So, I don't know which one we got.
Right?
I want to say this
something.
one ramped the comedy.
Yeah. I hope so.
Right? But could you imagine this movie if they were, like, tried to emphasize the horror and just took out all the comedy?
I don't know what it would be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It'd just be like people biting each other.
Yeah.
Just all around town.
So, also all around town, we see a lot of Halloween posters.
That's right, because there's a Halloween dance. And I know I jumped the gun. I should have picked this for next month.
I know. I was like, oh, whoops.
But it's not Halloween enough.
Yeah. But even this movie came out in like, what, March or May or something like that?
This movie came out 2 years after it was made, by the way. It was made in 87.
Wow.
It finally came out in 89.
Yikes.
That's why there's John Hudson or Hussons, who was the old ape in Planet of the Apes original. He's in a movie called The Dead, and they drive by it at the movie theater on the marquee. It says The Dead.
Yeah.
That came out in 87, and that just happened to be what was at that movie theater that when they filmed it. So
this is filmed in East LA.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that trivia. That's awesome.
I did.
You caught that. Yeah.
I just read things.
Yeah, I just read.
So, yeah, next day is Halloween, but the night before, All Hallows Eve, Chud is out.
Toilet papering the town.
Yeah, basically. Smashing Pumpkins concert.
Despite all my rage, I'm still just a Chud in the cage.
Right. Oh. Yeah, so his first human victim is jazzercise leopard. It's like some lady, she's in her living room.
So, and these are the things I meant about bits. Like, why does every single like side character in this film seem like they're I don't know, they're self-aware monologuing amateur comedians.
Yeah.
Right? Where she's like, come on. I'm going to do workout, and I'm working out so I can buy a pizza, and I can smoke a cigarette.
She's like, 5 more minutes, and I can have a cigarette and order a pizza, and I love my cats.
The thing is that what I just said and what you just said isn't like, our jokey interpretation of what she actually said. No, it is actually what she said.
Yeah.
She was like, and now I'm going to feed my cat because I'm a crazy cat lady, right? Right? Also in cheetah print, working out.
Yeah.
Right?
And she she gives up on the workout and she's like, all right, Whiskers, time for dinner. Time for dinner, feline. Woo! Like, everyone also has to say their actions because if they just do them, it won't read, I guess. And so she, like, puts the cat food in the bowl and then is like, oh, Boots, they're right in front of me.
This was made by Chuds for Chuds, so...
Yeah. He steps in front of her and she's like, oh my gosh, big feet.
Right.
Big legs. And
Are you heterosexual?
Yeah, she's like, ooh,
which also, why?
Are you heterosexual?
Is that something you just flat out ask?
I don't know, but he also
Is that something you flat out ask?
I don't.
Is that
what
you lead with? Hey, are you heterosexual? Yeah. No? Good.
And then maybe it's because he's in the army and she's like, maybe army guys are gay.
Was there a resurgence in '87 of like gay army men?
Don't ask, don't tell.
Yep.
And
when
then
did that come in? I thought that was like Clinton era.
I think
don't
so.
Ask, don't tell.
Sounds right.
You don't know your own history.
I don't. Sorry. What is your history, straight?
Just here.
Yeah. It's like we exist. It's pretty cool. We love being there.
Just here and taking my race and like everything for granted.
Yeah, so she's like, oh, what's your name? And his dog tag, she's like, Bud. And then she's
and this
like,
is the only reference that we get that his name is actually Bud, by the way.
And she's like, you like kissing? What does she say? And then gets scared of. Because I know he like opens his mouth and she's like, poor dental.
Horrible dental.
Yeah. Filed down teeth.
Yeah, and he picks her off, like kind of off camera. We get a shot of their legs and he picks her up. And I guess bites her and then drops her to the ground and walks away. And that's the thing is, like, he's not really cannibal.
He's like sucking a little bit of blood and then being like, that was enough for me.
Yeah, he's more vampiric. So he's
very
Vahud.
He's not an eater. He's a taster.
He's a leech.
Yeah. He doesn't like a full meal. He just likes to get a little flavor.
Yeah.
He snacks throughout the day. That's how he's so slim.
That's right. And he's always like dabbing the drops of blood that are running off his
He like the clothes are hanging in the backyard and he like dabs his face with some clothes hanging down. He goes to get a haircut and he dabs his face with a haircut.
And so that's what happens. He basically goes around town. He bites her first. She turns into a chud. Then there's a guy who's also monologuing, be like, I'm drunk and my stupid ex-wife, I hate that bitch. And like Bud bites him behind a dumpster and then
but the guy's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm not into that. I don't know. And I was like, God, they're really talking about gay stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool.
And he bites him and then steals his suit coat. So now Chud's fashion statement. By the way, we haven't established that while in Steve's room, he saw a picture of the three of them became immediately like pervy about Katie in the picture. And he's just like
rips the pre-torn photograph to like only have
Katie's
photo.
In the middle of the three of them in this group photo.
Which, very upset we only saw Steve shirtless for a little bit in that photo. Man.
Oh, okay. I didn't even notice he was.
Oh, he was.
So
was Kevin. Kevin's pretty good.
And he ripped the photo and then like stuffed Katie's portion of the photo back into his pocket. And he's just enamored with the fact that she's out there somewhere and exists, and he has to go find her because he's never seen her before. He's only seen Steve and Kevin, and it seems like his goal is to get himself dressed up for her.
Yeah,
like it's pick and choose how smart these chuds are, right? Because he's like, I'm gonna get this suit. Then he goes to a barber and he bites the barber, but not before he gets his hair cut, I guess.
Yeah,
and
meat. That's also, I forget, he says, meat.
Every time he sees the dog or smells other people.
Meat. So he does bite a barber. And then the barber's out wandering around too. Well, no, then the barber gets a guy in there. And the guy that like sits in his chair is like, in my day, we used to be able to not lock our doors. And, my dad used to take all of our valuables and put them in the street. We'd wake up in the morning and they'd still be in the street, all of our valuables. But these days, you can't do that.
Meanwhile, the Chud barber is like sharpening a flat razor. And I love this line where he goes, oh, using a razor for a cut, huh? It's very progressive of you. I'm like, actually, it's the opposite.
Yeah. Nowadays, people, they go and they pay $15, $10 for haircuts at the mall.
Yeah.
Like this guy, I'm like, geez, shut up, man.
And so the Chud slits his throat, and then you hear a chomp noise.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
So
like,
weird.
There's a lot that doesn't make sense because they pick and choose how self-aware that the Chuds are and what they're going to do or how stupid that they want to be. Like, it's not consistent. But Bud seems to be the leader of them in some way, right? They all follow his wherever he goes, right?
So,
and it seems his only goal is to eat and
find Katie.
So
meanwhile, Katie, Kevin, and Steven are going around
what
town.
What if, like, Katie didn't, like, she wasn't alive anymore? And like,
Yeah.
just, like, going around, like, he doesn't know. It'd be one thing if he had seen her, like, in real life.
Where'd she go?
Right? But he hasn't.
Yeah.
And that's another thing is, like, I can't decide throughout this whole movie, should I be caring about Bud? I mean, he's the title character, and by the end of the movie, we'll get to, like, what happens, but should I be caring about him?
I didn't.
No, right?
I was like, no.
Yeah, but, like, well, I shouldn't have asked the question yet because we haven't got to the heart-wrenching scene, you know? So, anyway.
Well, okay,
Back to the parents' house, the dog is now full-on Chud. And this is my favorite scene. The
mailman?
The mailman scene. So the mailman is outside, and he's like, hey, little doggy, how you doing? And the little girl is watching the mailman talk to the dog from the kind of the living room window. And then the dog just, like, another puppet dog just flies at the mailman, and it's like letters are flying, like everything's going crazy, and then the dog, like, drags him away.
Which looked pretty good.
It looked really good.
It looked like an actual tiny dog was dragging this man. I was like, that's insane. I don't know how they did that.
It was so good because the little girl's just terrified, and then it's like, I'm going to go to bed now.
Yeah, she's like, back to bed, still a dream. And then you actually, like, so Kevin and Katie and Steven are all kind of hiding inside because
the teens. Yeah. We'll just call them the teens.
The teens.
Yeah.
So they are all hiding inside because the military people showed up and they're like, they've got our property. And the mom's like, I guess they went to school. And he's like, just tell them to return our stuff. And then they just leave.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool.
So then they go get more burgers. Meanwhile, Bud has been busy, and he converted, like, an entire group, like like trucker.
Hobos?
I don't know, but they drive a pickup truck, like farmers.
Yeah.
And they drive a pickup truck, and they pull up to the burger joint, and then
sitting in the back of the truck.
Yep. All the other Chuds go into the burger joint, turn everybody in there into Chuds, and then roll out.
Yeah. Well,
like,
that's also
they grab a bite.
Katie, the kids, they're all in the car outside when the other truck pulls up with Bud and all his Chuds. And the other Chuds go inside. Bud is just sitting in the back, and, like, the kids are talking in the truck or in the car, like, what do we do? And then eventually they look over and they're like, hey, that's him. That's Bud. And then the truck pulls away and they're like, follow it. And then they go to a barn.
Right.
Okay. Barn. So they're at the barn.
And then there's a farmer there that interrupts their interaction. They're trying to capture Bud, or I don't know. Bud has all the farmer Chuds that were driving the pickup truck. That's another thing. They know how to drive. Yeah. Like, it's weird.
Very odd, their skill sets.
Yeah. And then a farmer comes in, and he's like, what in the name of the worldwide of sports is going on here? Right? And then they bite him. And then the military is close on their tail and actually storms into the other end of the barn and winds up freezing the farmer who just got bit. And the rest of the Chuds escape, including Bud. And now the military has... we are just explaining the plot.
Yeah.
Like, we're just...
I know. I was like, oh, yeah. Well, so then...
Welcome to Storytellers. Yeah. We're not telling any jokes anymore. It's just the movie.
The military comes back after they've frozen one, and one guy's like, I got one. The other guy's like, I got one too. And they're like, great, we got 3. But then, like, the other Chud starts, like, vibrating, I guess. And they're like, he's heating up his core on the inside in order to melt the ice.
Right.
Like, when did they get superpowers?
I don't know. Well, basically, he says that they have the ability now to adapt and mutate to their situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Which I was like, I didn't know that you guys. I didn't know nuclear waste could do all that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really thought it was just a hazardous material, and that's about it. But apparently, I love the magic of nuclear waste in movies. It's anything you want it to be.
Yeah.
Are you a blind guy that wants to become a superhero? Nuclear waste. Are you like anything you could think of?
I saw a really funny post online about superheroes, and they were like, if you told me that there was one superhero that used echolocation to find his surroundings because he was blind, and there was another superhero that loved adrenaline rush and used that to save a city, and then you told me that one was named Daredevil and one was named Batman, I would be very wrong as to which was which. Because it's hilarious.
Yeah, that's good.
I was like, oh, I never thought of that. Though they are from two different universes.
Sure.
So then the military people capture the kids. They're like, you got to come back with us because you've caused a lot of problems. And they start driving away. And the main military guy is like, they're not going to go anywhere now, and shoots their truck and it blows up. I was like, okay.
One bullet to a handgun. Don't even know where the bullet made contact to the pickup truck.
He shot it directly into the gas can.
And full on exploded.
Very good shot, that man. He's like, pew. He's impressive.
And so, as this is all going on, there's a coroner who is actually doing an investigation on the mailman's body, and the mailman comes back to life and bites him, and then the two of them together go into the bar.
Walk out the courthouse steps and into the bar, which I was like,
but not before doing a joke of tastes great, less filling, which is the 1987 Miller Lite famous commercial from back in the day, where there was two groups of people at a bar, and they would argue as what was better on the same thing.
Tastes great,
less filling, right? And you're like, what? This is my question to you. What a magical time that we lived in. And which I guess went all the way up into I can think of 2000 with Scary Movie and What's Up, right? Where we could throw in commercial jingles and slogans, and they were considered fun and funny instead of don't invade my movie.
You're stealing my property.
Yeah, because you saw that all throughout. There's multiple ones in this one. Like I said, this bud's for you, or this chud's for you. Somebody was like, I love beer.
Yeah. Beer references will really sell them on this movie, I swear. We also missed, though, so the military people, while they're trying to follow the kids, they go to the Bossy, the burger joint. And, when they're in there is when the Chuds have already turned all the employees into Chuds.
All patrons, anybody who was in the burger joint in the Chuds.
Yeah. So their driver, their security guard person,
their limo driver, because it's a limo for military personnel.
Well, they have to have a lot of room for their grenade launchers and flamethrowers and ice throwers
that are all in the trunk. Yeah.
Freeze guns.
Yeah.
Freeze rays.
Nitrous oxide.
Gun. What?
Nitrous oxide.
Yeah. And then so the driver escapes and they blow up the entire restaurant.
He takes a full-on bazooka to the entire restaurant. Just right over the shoulder cannon, and just boom right into the restaurant. Explodes it, and then is like, call somebody to clean us up, we're out of here. And you're like, that's not how any of this works.
There's also a random line where he's like, call for backup, but don't tell the president. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
but it turns out that explosion did not kill any of the Chuds. They all just get up and are like, all right, let's go.
Right. But you would think he would know that, too, because it seems like they already knew the only way to kill them thus far was whatever that thing in the syringe was at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Right? And which also questions, well, no, that's not a question. Never mind. I was going to say, what why aren't they using the syringe? And I'm like, oh, wait, no, he wants to capture them to continue the experiments, which is why he's like, freeze them. I forgot.
Yeah.
But at what point do you just say, this is out of control? Like, and that never happens. Like, nobody really questions the colonel. Like, they just go for it. Like, there's nobody else, like, higher up that's like, I'm taking over. Anything like that ever happens.
He just has power.
Yeah. So now it's Halloween night, and Robert Englund walks by camera in a trench coat.
Things I missed.
Yes, it's actually Robert Englund who does a pass by. Like, there's a bunch of kids on the street trick or treating, and the camera like pans down as an establishing shot, and there's Robert Englund in a brown trench coat. I guess he's like, I don't know, doing research for Freddy 6.
It's pre-Nightmare.
No, it's not.
I know it's not actually. But
you mean
like that's when he was like, time to get the children. Like that was his establishment.
Just
like,
doing,
here we are,
just doing puns at your caliber.
Oh my!
Welcome to my Chudmare.
Ew. Chudmare. That's like a horse. That's a chud too. The Chudmare.
You're right.
I hate it. I hate me. Don't worry. Yeah.
Nope, he's there. It is actually Robert Englund. You can pause it. I'll do a screenshot of it.
Cool.
No, I won't. No, I'll try. I always try.
I gave up.
We get busy, guys. Hey, and putting it out there, we do get busy. Anybody wants to be an intern? Come join us.
Yeah.
Like have
fun.
Make things for us. I don't know how internship college credit works, but
we'll
you can
try.
be a.
I don't know.
You can be an intern.
So
I don't have time for like.
It's Halloween night. There are kids out trick or treating, so they bite some kids.
Which they don't show them biting any kids. I guess that would be really bad.
They don't show them biting kids, but kids do get bitten.
Well, because that's another thing is we see a scene where Bud picks up a child, right, and is about to bite him.
Sorry, this is a great scene because Bud picks up a child and is about to bite him, but then you hear some teenagers go, "Hey, look, a poster!"
You want to go?
And they go over to this poster and they're like, "Cool, a Halloween party. Let's go."
No, the specific line, and that's why I think it's even funnier, is look, hey, look, there's the poster. As if they were running around town trying to find information about this Halloween dance where it's like, how many high schools do you have?
But every scene that we've seen in this movie somehow has this poster.
That poster.
It is everywhere.
It's on these, like, welcome to, I think it's Willowbrook is the sign.
Yeah.
You know, like, welcome to Willowbrook. And then they pan down and it's like, Halloween dance Friday at 8. And you're like,
but it's like it's on a tree. It's like in the coroner's office.
It's on the door of the bar.
Yeah,
it's everywhere. Which is what made me go, oh man, I was like a month ahead on this movie.
Like whoops.
But yeah, so they're like, look, there's the poster, and
the poster. It's my favorite.
And Bud and all the other chuds behind him, he's like, real
Halloween party.
Yeah, like there's and he looks at the child and goes, small fry. Right? Puts the child down, and then the child goes, bitch in costume!
I was like, yes! Child just said bitchin'.
The child, like, if you actually looked at his face, you're like, the child seems scared, as if his mother is right off camera being like, don't you dare say bitchin'. He's like, bitch in costume! Did I say it right? I'm so nervous about this scene. Yeah, so they go to the dance. The Chuds go to the dance. They force their way in.
Well, okay. So the Chuds start to walk into the school, into this. Well,
I don't know where you're about to. Are you about to do the like?
Where they like kind of do a dance
table?
for 5 seconds before the check-in, but like they're walking up the steps. They okay. So they're coming down this hill from a field, and like the main entrance to the high school is
meanwhile
right in front
the Chud dog is with them too.
Yeah, but they're like as they're walking up to it, it's like
which they don't even ever try to like disguise the Chud dog as being Chudish unless it's like a close in.
Oh yeah, it's zombie teeth.
Yeah, because there's a scene where the limo driver also
gets attacked by the Chud dog.
Yeah, while the kids are being interviewed at the C.D.C, the limo driver is outside, and
you want
like,
a sandwich?
hey,
I'll get you a sandwich. What are you doing, little puppy? And he does that thing where he can't just like let pauses happen while he's trying to capture
They're
a
all
dog.
monologuing.
He's consistently talking like, hey, little dog, what are you doing? Don't be scared. I'm going to come get you. Do you want a sandwich? I'll get you some food. I'll get you a nice hot sandwich. What are you doing? Why are you so angry? Why? Oh, don't growl at me. I'm okay. I'm safe. Wah! And then he gets bit. It's literally constant talking before he gets bit.
Well, as I said, they're all monologue until like some action happens, as if they all don't know when the effect is going to happen. So they were like, the director's like, all right, what you're going to do is you're going to just basically just keep talking, and then like when the effects guys are ready, they're just going to pull you. They're going to pull you right into the bush, and just go. And
he does get sucked into that bush. It's pretty neat.
But what the point that made me remember to not forget to talk about the limo driver is that there's a shot of the Chud dog just being a normal dog, like it was just like. Barf! And you're like, wait a minute, like you guys couldn't even done like the Chud puppet?
Yeah.
So what if it was the dog from the first one?
Yeah.
Just back.
Oh, it could be. Yeah, the children were in the Center for Disease Control. The main army guy left, and the Chud limo driver, he's like, let's go, we got to get to the school. And the army or the limo driver's like, yes, meat. Like, and then that's kind of the last we see of the colonel for now.
Okay, so that makes sense what happened to him. I was going to question by the end of this of like what happened to the colonel, but okay. I totally forgot that. All right.
So then like
anyway,
the Katie's standing in front of a window, and all of a sudden Chud's like, I want you, and she's like, oh my god. And
I want you.
They pull her out of his grasp, and then all of a sudden the nerd assistant to the colonel is like opens the door, but all the Chuds are there, including Bud the Chud, which I was like, he got inside super fast.
Yeah.
He like warped around.
Yep.
And while he's blocking the door, all of a sudden Steve's already out the window. He's like bounding through it.
Yeah, he just launched himself through the window.
Yeah. And so the kids leave, the assistant becomes a Chud, and the kids steal a van that's full of nitrous oxide, nitrogen, liquid nitrogen. It's liquid nitrogen. Isn't it?
It is.
Okay.
You're right.
Because I was like, I think that's laughing gas or something like that.
Yeah,
but I'm not a
science.
Sorry. I'm not a nitrosologist.
Yeah. Gasologist.
So yeah.
Well, you are.
No, I am a gasologist. We both were like, get it.
It's my joke. It's mine.
Yeah. So stupid. Yeah, so the kids...
we're both like just as hungry as the Chuds are for a joke in this episode. It's my joke. No, God, can we just do something more than just explain the plot?
We're trying, man.
Well, because
it's an enjoyable movie to me,
and that's what I want. That's what I wanted to get in making that statement just now. Is that like it was a fun movie, and it is a comedic movie. So it's like we're trying to hit jokes on things that are already jokes. It's a movie where, like, I knew I wanted to do it, and I'm glad we did because it was a lot of fun. But it's another thing where it's like, well, they definitely didn't make it taking it seriously, so it's harder to make a joke when something's made seriously, not tongue in cheek, and we pick it. It's way easier to be like, what were you guys doing? Like the first Chud, it's just like, that was crazy and that was stupid, and that's like, come on, logic doesn't apply. This is like everything has the silly theme song before it, and everything's like,
that's literally all the monsters' noises.
Yeah,
all the Chuds go.
Yeah. I kind of figured it was going to be like, I mean, it was subtitled Bud the Chud.
I know, you can't, it's not great.
Yeah.
So the kids steal this van.
We're at the finale, guys. Don't panic.
It's got all the liquid nitrogen in it, and they start driving, and he's like, go to the docks of the school, Kevin is. And they're like, what?
You mean the biology lab?
Yeah. And they're like, what? Okay. And he's like, I swear, do it. It's a great idea. Yeah, so the Chuds are walking into the front of the school, and they all start doing like a random like hop, left step, kick out. Like for like 5 seconds, they do this like weird choreographed dance.
Yeah, it's a thriller reference.
Cha-cha,
very
cha-cha.
Yeah.
But then like it stops and they just go inside.
Sure.
So they break into the school dance.
There's a Plan 9 reference in somebody's wearing a Plan 9 mask.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the creepy giant baby head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's It's the I forget what the actor's name is, but he's like the big giant bald guy from
you
Plan
guys.
9. No, it is not Sloth from Goonies. Okay, like
it's. So
yes,
they the whole school dance with all the chuds. It's basically them trying to take a bite out of someone on the dance floor, but they never are able to because people are like dance dodging. They're like, "Ooh, I got dipped."
Yeah,
Ooh,
nobody's
I got
like
dipped.
in a panic.
Ooh,
either.
I did the splits and missed them, and everyone's like, "Great costumes." Then you see Kate McKinnon, like look-alike, sitting in the audience, like, "Is that my dad?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah, nobody's really.
No one's panicked. No one's worried. And at one point, Chud even like flies through the air and gets like thrown on top of someone, and they're like, "Wow, these guys are really rowdy."
Yeah.
So Kevin's great idea. He's like, "We got to get them all to the pool, freeze the pool." Or no, they're just like, "We got to get inside and stop the Chuds somehow." They haven't even thought of the pool.
No, they
idea
haven't
yet.
thought of that part yet. So they go to the science class to try to like unload the liquid nitrogen, and there's their science teacher, and he's somehow become a Chud. Like we
Eating
never
a
saw him
frog.
got bit.
Yeah.
He's just eating a frog. And mind you, also we've seen a Chud. We've seen Bud himself eat a live fish right out of a koi pond, and we've seen a child because there's a bunch of trick-or-treaters that got turned into Chuds attack a old couple that like invited. This was such a weird time.
I think this was an 80s thing.
I was never when I trick-or-treated, and also anybody. Does anybody know? And we're not talking about like, oh, we knew them, like we trusted them. Like we're talking about straight up strangers. Did anybody, when you trick-or-treated, invite you inside their house to get the goodies? Because to me, that just screams
Not as a
stranger
child.
danger. You know?
I went inside to get the goodies as an adult.
Right. And usually, if it was an old person inviting you inside their house, you'd be like, "I don't want to go in there. It's just going to be that stupid
Can
styrofoam
you clean
peanut
the oven
candy."
for me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah, he has some wrapped caramels.
Werther's Originals. I love those.
No,
That's my favorite part about old people.
Yeah.
Werther's are so good. Yes. Okay.
Anyway, but
so,
what I was saying is that the trick-or-treaters go in, they eat that old couple, and they also bite the head off of a bird in a cage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
They like crush the cage too to get the bird out there. Like,
But they
strong
like,
kids.
If this was like a bunch of children Chuds, I think I would have been more scared.
Yeah.
Because like they're like kind of mindless, and you don't really see their faces. Like they didn't want to do the makeup for the kids
They're
or something.
creepy.
Yeah, so you only see them shot from the back mostly, and just their growls and stuff. That's way scarier.
Yeah.
But all that led up to this party, and somehow the science teacher got bit and is eating a frog when they walk in. And they hold him down on a table, light a Bunsen burner, and then proceed to shove
his
it
head
into
on
the
it.
back of his skull and through the front of his skull.
I thought they were gonna like push him down on it and like fill his insides with gas and then light him on fire and he'd blow up. And I was like, that's pretty neat.
I thought they were just gonna burn his head off. You know, just light him on fire. I
Yeah.
thought so. None of that. No, we go for a really cool practical effect here, in which the Bunsen burner is now through his skull, and he's still attacking them as he's like chained down to the Bunsen burner and its hose, and then they freeze him.
They get the gun to work.
Right.
They freeze him.
And then, in pure luck, this coincidence, I don't know. He grabs the same positive and electric wands that he sparked the fire from in the beginning of the movie with the frog in class, and touches it to the teacher, and the teacher starts having beams of light.
Yeah.
like basically like he was a sparkly vampire, and then people shot
Or
bullets.
the Beast at the end of Beauty and the Beast. He's like, and he's transforming back. But in reality, he dies.
Yes, what it looks like is somebody took and shot bullets at the frozen Chud, And inside the Chud, he was like, he's become a new changed man.
Yeah.
Just because where a bullet would bounce off, that's when like a beam of light shoots out now out of the ice. But all that is actually because they're electrified, not actually bullets or anything. But like beams of light are cracking the ice, and then they explode. And then that's how you defeat Chuds, I guess. That's the worst. That's the
it's
stupidest.
Really not great.
No.
So then they're like, well, let's get them all into the pool. We'll freeze the pool, and then we'll electrocute them. But they thought of this plan, but they actually didn't
think of the electric.
Plan.
They didn't think of the electric part. And they're like, let's freeze them, and then what do we do?
So Katie's like, all right, you get the pool ready. I'm going to go get my swimsuit on. She goes and gets on like a real sexy swimsuit.
Why does she put a swimsuit on?
Because she's got to jump in the pool. You can't swim without a swimsuit. Everyone knows that. Plus, they had to make it a little sexy.
She looked great.
She did look good.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a cool swimsuit. Yeah. Not appropriate for school, but good
also,
swimsuit.
Because she doesn't really, other than when Bud burst through the window and was like, Katie, she doesn't really know that he's into her. Like,
well, that's when they find the photo because he drops it, and they're like, "Why is he stalking Katie?"
Hey, that son of a bitch is jacking off to my photo.
What's on this photo? It looks like green oozing semen.
Just glowy toxic waste. Katie.
Gross. So Katie busts into the dance room, and she's like, "Hey, zombies, you want some?" And they're like, "Okay."
Don't understand this either. They're around all these people. Why are they all like? It's like their hive mind. Yeah. Right. Only Bud should be like Katie, but they're all like, yeah, let's follow her instead. It's like you have meat all around you.
Yeah.
Why did you chase her? Like, it didn't make any sense. Like, for a movie that like actually tried really hard for like to write their comedy and the jokes and stuff, there's some things that were just like left without any true motivation or explanation. Right. So. Yeah, they follow her down like a very narrow hallway towards the pool, and they all just kind of one by one just fall into the pool.
Well, what I loved is Katie, like, so the boys are standing in front of these double doors, and they're like, okay, let's go prep things, and they walk away. But then Katie gets up to the double doors, and she's like, you didn't unlock the double doors. Open the goddamn double doors. So they run back and they open it, and she's fine. She jumps in the pool and swims across and swims out. But they're like, so then they're like, all right, let's throw in the tanks of liquid nitrogen.
Right.
And he's like, Kevin's like, Steven, did you prep these? And he goes, think so. And he's like, you didn't at all.
Nope.
So they had to open them up.
But they also didn't prep like how they were going to get electric into the pool either.
Makes me so mad.
Like, they executed part of the plan without actually having the rest of the plan.
Yeah. So they throw them all in the pool, and then this is also really cool. Like, the pool freezes over, but because
the
water, when it freezes, it expands, and then the pool ground, like the ground around them, starts cracking.
Yeah. Well, how did they think of that science?
I know.
But there's so many other things left on the cutting room floor.
But like that also means nothing. Like, it literally amounts to nothing.
No.
Like, you think it'd be something cool, like then the floor gave way. Nope. No. It's just there.
But it was like as if the person who played Kevin actually was nerdy and was like, actually, the floor would expand, so you're gonna have to spend another $5,000 on the budget to make sure that you show that the pool expands.
So Katie's like, crap, because Chud has already Bud. He's managed to like de-thaw super fast, I guess. Or did he avoid the pool altogether?
No, because he definitely climbs out when
he's like climbing up
the pool like railings are frosted up to a certain point, and he's shown climbing that railing.
And he's like ripping his hands off, like pole. And
I don't know. He just got lucky. It didn't reach him yet. Who knows?
So he starts chasing Katie up the dive tower.
Why does she climb the diving board tower? Just run in a circle around the pool.
Well, she couldn't get through the other side because they barricaded one side, so all the Chuds had to go in the pool. Really stupid.
But at least you could have made a full circle and made your way to the
other way, I guess. And so, so then, meanwhile, Kevin's like, oh no, we need electricity. And they're like, oh right. So they like pull these wires down out of like off the wall.
The clock.
And
they're like, use the energy from the clock.
So then Kevin's like, okay, so the positive one needs to be grounded. The negative one needs to be attached to here. But if the positive one is like this, then the negative one,
and
it's like
on and on.
Put them both in the goddamn water. It'll make electricity.
Like
I swear to fucking God.
Like any
Jesus,
other movie.
taking forever.
Right?
Kevin also
we
manages.
can't do that. There's going to be a guy that's sitting at home and rented this and is going to write to us.
Kevin got bit in the foot while trying to push people back in the water.
Because they're all starting to melt the ice immediately. And one is melted enough to be able to reach Steve.
Oh, Steven got bit in the foot.
Steven. Right. And
no, didn't that happened before they froze though?
Maybe
when they were fighting them all back in.
When he was fighting them back. Either way, one grabbed Steve's foot and bit him on the foot.
Yeah.
And then Bud has chased Katie up the diving board, and she's on the edge of the diving board, and he's on the other side of it. And he straightens his hair, fixes his suit coat jacket, makes himself presentable for her. Yeah. And then
he starts coming towards her and she goes, "No." And
he goes, "Please."
And so then he's like, "Oh, sorry, I forgot." And reaches inside his own chest and pulls his heart out and is like, "Right? This is what you wanted, right?" She's like, "What the fuck?" She's a little bit poor guy, but
should we feel sorry for the title character or not?
I don't. I'm it's stupid.
Right, because they didn't.
That's why you don't fall in love with the photograph.
Right. So when you watch the trailer in our shorties, right? Did they not seem to make it out where they're like, Bud's a cool guy. He's gonna I thought when I saw that trailer,
I thought it was gonna be
Bud was going to be on their side against the rest of the Chuds kind of thing.
I thought it was going to be what was that Brendan Fraser movie where they de-thaw a caveman and they have to
Encino Man?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be that.
Pauly Shore?
It was Pauly Shore.
No.
Or
Brendan Fraser is the thawed person. Pauly Shore is also in the film.
Got it.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like that. We woke up a zombie and now we've got to hang out with him.
Well, yeah, me too, actually.
Yeah.
And then I thought that other ones were going to come, but they weren't going to be as smart. And I thought it was going to be Frankenstein's our friend.
Would have been
a
better movie.
You know, actually, would have been a better movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So
they take they must not have thrown all of the liquid nitrogen into.
Well, there was still the gun.
There's still one in the gun, and they freeze Bud on the end of the diving board, and then Katie walks past him and gets to a safe place, and then they electrify the water, and all the Chuds explode. There's over 20 explosions. I counted them in this scene alone. Just each body's just poof, 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 right? As they all also shoot beams of light right before they explode. And then the movie kind of just ends with the three of them coming outside, right?
And his parents driving up with his sister in the backseat, and they're like, "Look, there's Steven."
Yeah. And also, okay,
this is gurney.
The gurney from the beginning of the movie that was rolling away from them, all Benny Hill style, finally comes back. It's like the golf cart in Ernest Goes to Camp. It just comes out of nowhere.
Right? But it comes back and hits the back of the car, and the little girl's in the back
full circle back to the school.
But the little girl just goes
on a hill.
"Oh man," and then just lays down in the back seat. She's like, "Get back to bed."
So now a little time has passed by, and Katie picks up Kevin, who is now
Sam's glasses and
transitioned from 80s nerd to 90s suave, right? He's got the Jonathan Taylor Thomas kind of
JTT
middle part now going on, and he's like, "Where's Steve?" And he's like, "Steve won't be coming," and he left a letter, and the letter's like, "Hey
amigos,
guys, I'm gonna go find myself. You guys will make a great couple. Good luck with that." And you're like, "All right."
He's "I'm going out to explore the world. Sucks to be the world, right? LOL." I was like, "Oh, that's a me joke."
Right? And then it switches over to the Chud dog is still alive.
Yeah, it's
on the side of the road.
Walking with our old Stevie, or Steve Bo.
Right.
Steve guy.
And a pickup truck pulls up beside Steve.
Because it's
and
hitchhiking.
It's like, "Hey, you need a ride?" And he's like, yeah, and he gets in, and the dog gets in the back of the pickup truck and starts barking at the guy who's at the back of the pickup truck, and it pans up, and it turns out it's the Colonel.
And he's a Chud.
And he's a fully talking Chud. Like, now they're, like, fully talking and aware.
And then
right?
the lady's like, I figured we could
Who
drive
the fuck
for a
is
bit.
this lady?
I don't know. But she's wearing, like, a sailor's hat and, like, a sexy outfit.
She's, like, German. And
She's like, I figured we could drive for a bit and then stop at night for dinner. And she looks over and kind of smiles. And she's kind of got Chud teeth, but kind of doesn't.
Yeah,
it doesn't exactly look like it.
Yeah.
And then you pan over to Steven, and he's like,
Chud too. And he's Chud too.
Yeah.
End of film.
Did you see the post-credit scene?
Yes, I did.
Good night.
Okay, so what we didn't is like when the explosion happened, Bud the Chud.
Oh yeah, his head comes off.
Yeah, he exploded and his head fell in front of Katie, and he's like, "I love you" or something. And then what we saw, Steve like puncture his head or something, but that's not what's shown in these end credits. It's just Bud like going like fully no hole in his head or anything, going good night.
I like to think that it was before he got the axe in his head.
He said good night to people.
Good night. Good night. Good night, Steven.
Be sure to film me saying good night before you puncture my head.
And
so
that's
I can
it.
use it later. Yep. And you get the Bud the Chud theme song again.
Eat 'em up, eat 'em up, yum, yum, yum.
that's a little chant as they go places. Yes.
Bud will be like, eat 'em up, and then the horde goes, yum, yum, yum.
Yeah,
it's great.
Okay, would you recommend this movie?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I loved it.
I would say it's definitely a midnight movie. Mm-hmm. It's fun, it's funny. I
you
think
don't need to watch the first one.
No, not at all. Like not at all.
Which is kind of good because the first one's more serious.
It's more serious, and it's so dark and like it's filmed dark.
It is really hard to see things in that movie.
Or understand really what's going on, or care about anybody, because John Hurd, the main character, is an asshole, and Michael Stern is, or Daniel Stern. Damn it, I keep saying it's Daniel Stern, isn't it?
I don't know.
From Home Alone.
I guess.
What do you mean, I guess?
Why
are we a movie podcast?
I don't know. I'm just here for the fun.
It is Daniel Stern. I've been saying Michael Stern the whole damn episode, and you didn't correct me.
Even on the shorties, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, either way, it's Daniel Stern, right? And they're both not very likable characters. It doesn't. So like, there's not. If one said, "Oh, what would you choose?" I would choose this one for its fun, like because I like campy, fun stuff like this. I did. And I mean, it's just whoever edited the trailer made it seem like it was something it wasn't. So I was actually expecting a different movie, like I said, a buddy comedy.
Well, even whenever you described it to me, I was expecting something different.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. And then I started it, and I was
what
like,
it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're both
time.
recommending it. And you know what? There's other people that definitely recommend this film. And we asked them to give me 5. So here it is. Give me 5 for the month of September.
A lot of people just praised it.
Yeah.
I was like, people are like, this is great.
So here we go. We got 3 coming at you for Chud 2. First one was written by DLW205 in September of 2001. Titled, What Can I Say? ... A 10. I really thought this movie was great. From the thrilling theme song to the plot. This movie sends shivers up my spine. As much as the first Chud scared the crap out of me when I was 12, this movie makes me laugh and laugh and laugh and cry. I recommend everyone go out and see this that'd have been a better thing. Cinematic masterpiece. I can sum this movie up in one word. Meat.
Chud. Oh.
10 stars.
Meat.
5 stars.
10 stars. 5 stars. 3 stars. 2 stars.
Yeah. Laugh and laugh and laugh and cry. Like, did he cry at the heart scene? Is that what happened? Was there somebody out there that actually felt sorry for Bud at the end? I think that's what he's hinting towards here. Yeah. Cinematic masterpiece. Next one's written by Bud the Chew. I think he forgot to type the D. Written in May 2002, titled fantastic. This film is one of the funniest movies I have ever seen. I know I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah.
It has a great cast, with Robert Vaughn putting in a career best with the character Masters. He's Colonel Masters. He plays a slightly crazy Frankenstein-type role. Wait, so he just skipped over... What? He just skipped over talking about the guy who plays Bud the Chud.
Keep going.
Sorry, wait. All right. He definitely said Robert Vaughn is Colonel Masters, right?
Yeah.
But and then he skips over the establishing sentence where he would refer to Gerrit Graham because he just goes into it. So let me restart here. This film is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. It has a great cast, with Robert Vaughn putting in a career best with the character Masters. He plays a slightly crazy Frankenstein's type role, believing the Chuds to be fantastic and trying to carry on with his military operation. Okay,
he's saying Frankenstein, not Frankenstein's monster.
But
Jeez,
he's definitely not Dr. Frankenstein.
No, not at all.
This performance is only matched by Gerrit Graham, who plays the lead zombie Bud. They actually do. Katie calls them zombies too, in one line. So that's interesting. His zombie walk is excellent and has many cool lines to say. Quote, eat them up, yum, yum, yum. This film is a bit of a, quote, Day of the Dead ripoff, either having cleaver zombies called Bud or Bub. However, as it is going to emulate a film as good as Day of the Dead, at least it does it well, with lots of comedy moments. Check out cameos by comedian Rich Hall, Bianca Jagger, and Freddy's Robert Englund. Also, the lead student, played by Brian Robbins, has gone on to direct Varsity Blues and other films. This is a must-see for all zombie fans, and everyone else should just watch it for Master's witty, snide remarks. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that Steven's character is a really decent producer. He's producing the next Rugrats movie. It's like the live-action CGI mix Rugrats movie, which I was like, okay, get him.
That sounds awful.
It does. But he's producing it.
Welcome to the show already. Yeah. Pre-introduction.
Getting it early.
Yeah. There's a lot of praise going on there. That's a huge fan.
What did he say it was a ripoff?
Day of the Dead, which I could see that. Day of the Dead is the third Romero film in which they start talking and are starting to become a little self-aware. And Gerrit Graham is definitely playing Bud as very Day of the Dead-ish, like the main zombie in Day of the Dead. Yeah, I can see that. And then finally, by A. Fiddler, in February 2006, titled Ridiculous But Hilarious. I watched Chud 2 for the first time when I was about 10 years old, and it is still one of my favorite movies of all time. Don't expect Academy Award-winning performances, but some ridiculous laughs. I can tell you how many times I have quoted this movie, especially the eat them up, yum, 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 and Bobby Burger scene is classic. I give this movie 2 thumbs up if campy, cheese-tastic horror movies are your thing. 5 stars.
Great. Great review. I was just like, I loved it.
But, like... I can't tell you how many times I've quoted this movie. Like, does he just walk around town being like, eat them up, yum, yum, yum.
And everyone's like, what are you talking about?
Come on, guys.
His friends are so mad at him.
Chud too, come on. Nobody knows.
His friends are like, we never wanted to see it.
Yeah, come on. It's about dental hygiene.
God.
So, like I established in the last episode, we were going to give a new rating system to things. Whether is it a cinematic masterpiece such as Jaws, or is it just okay like Jaws 2? Is it in the rough territory of Jaws 3D, or is it Jaws the Revenge? So, what do you give it?
I say a Jaws 2 again. It's good.
Jaws 2. Huh.
I liked it.
Yeah.
But it's not great. I don't think I'd watch it willy-nilly, but I'd see it again if someone put it on TV.
Yeah, I'd be. If this was like playing like on TV somewhere, I'd be like, oh, Bud the Chud. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jaws 2. That's a good one. I like it. So that's our rating. It's Jaws 2.
Woo.
What an odd rating system.
I gotta watch all the Jaws.
I know. Well, we'll get to it.
I've seen the
on the
first
next
one.
Shark Week, guys.
Yes.
There you go. Shark Week when that comes up. I wish it was Shark Month because I would do like Deep Blue Sea.
You know, Shark
well.
Week's the perfect time to go swimming because all the sharks are on TV.
True.
That was a stupid joke I stole from the internet. Thanks, internet.
At least you acknowledged it.
I know.
Gave the internet credit before I get you for plagiarism.
Yeah.
Yep, that just about does it for us here at Bombs Away. Make sure you follow us. If there's something that you think that we forgot, if you're like, Jesus Christ, like pick something that you don't have to go through the whole plot.
Right.
I don't know. Like, write to us. We love hearing from you. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All at Bombs Away Show. You can write to us a personal email if you want to be on the show, you want to interview us, anything like that, do a story, contact at bombsawayshow.com. And then be sure to be on the lookout for our next live show, which is coming up if you're in the Southern California area. That announcement will be coming shortly. And then also make sure that you tune in next week for Dr. Detroit from 1983, Dan Aykroyd's failed pre-Ghostbusters comedy. Like post-SNL, pre-Ghostbusters, what are you doing comedy? Where he plays a down-on-his-luck guy who also just becomes a pimp, and Fran Drescher is a prostitute. So yes, that'll be fun. That just about does it for me. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Gerrit.
And eat 'em up, yum, yum, yum.
Hey, this is Gerrit with the Bombs Away podcast, and we're here in the Frida Cinema recording our podcast. So the Frida Cinema is a program of the Long Beach Cinematique, and it's located here in Santa Ana in Southern California. It serves the neighboring communities, and it is a non-profit art house cinema dedicated to enriching, connecting, and educating communities through the art of cinema. It's here to entertain, and that's why the entertainment industry exists. So what they show on these screens is pretty amazing. They have things such as the Director's Series, and it features directors such as Martin Scorsese, Mel Brooks, and Lloyd Kaufman. Lloyd Kaufman, if you didn't know, did The Toxic Avengers and The Class of Nukem High. They also have something called Friday Night Freakouts, and this is presented by OC Weekly. It has films that are among the horror or sci-fi kind of genre. They've done films such as Lost Boys, Hackers, and The Room. They've also featured anime like Your Name and Akira. Some other things they do are double features. They've done things such as Hot Fuzz mixed with Shaun of the Dead, which is actually two pretty good films. They also show a lot of cool things among the lines of indie films. They have The Void, which is currently on Netflix, and they also have had Academy Award-winning films such as Best Film winner Moonlight, which I think is pretty awesome that it showed in this space before it actually went up. If you want more information about showtimes, location, and everything film and entertainment related to the Frida Cinema, you can go to www.thefridacinema.org. You can also follow on Facebook at facebook.com/thefridacinema and on Instagram and Twitter at thefridacinema. The Frida Cinema, for filmmakers, for filmgoers, and for you.
This has been a production of Big Bulb Entertainment, executive produced by Jonathan Young. For more media and information, visit us at www.bigbulbentertainment.com. Big Bulb, what's your bright idea?